Welcome to a very special Bruce Guys Christmas edition. I'm Mike Morgan. Here beside me is somebody that you guys that have been following this show, both on the podcast and on this YouTube show, will recognize.
The Gnarly Gnome. I like to drink a lot.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Where can we find you, Gnarly Gnome?
Right here. TheGnarlyGnome.com. I try to be everywhere. I try to be everywhere where you can make things about beer.
Do gnomes get seasonal work as elves?
No. If you've ever, the movie with Will Ferrell, Elf?
Yeah.
There's actually a little scene in there where they said they tried to hire gnomes, but they drink too much. 100% part of the movie.
That's canon.
It tracks.
Yeah.
Well, my name is Brett Coleman Baker, one of the co-owners here at Urban Artifact in Cincinnati, Ohio. And today is a very special day. It is our first ever Boozemas episode. That is our holiday special. So we won't be doing anything next week, but we have a lot of special treats for you this week. One, we have this holiday episode, which we're going to do a lot of fun stuff. We're going to do our top 12 stories of the year. We're going to do our top 12 holiday beers of the year. And then we're going to debate and get drunk and probably get way sidetracked. More importantly,
Somebody's shirt's coming off.
I do have two shirts on right now. More importantly, the Jim Cook interview is finally out. So head on over to the Bruce Guys Happy Hour podcast, wherever you find your podcast, or here on our YouTube channel, and give that a listen. It's a 3-parter. There's so much information. As you'll see in the intro, I am unfortunately not in it. I was out of country, but Mike stepped up, and it's a fantastic episode. Listen to why Anheuser-Busch basically tried to snuff Jim Cook.
Yeah. There was BFFs now. I'm going over to his place for Christmas, actually. So it's, that's not
fantastic.
true at all.
Maybe he'll take pity on you and give you $1 million. I mean, as a billionaire, that's nothing to him,
That'd be
right?
great.
I would love to take a peek inside of his fridge.
Yeah, I bet he's got some good booze. I mean, he basically gave Jack McAuliffe $1 million. So, but Jack McAuliffe, invented American craft beer, whereas I'm just a guy that irritated him for like an hour and a half once a few weeks.
What's the difference?
Months ago. Yeah. I've created things. God damn it.
Crack a beer and get ready. We're going to dive right in. We are going to start with the top 12 beer stories of 2023. I broke this down into a couple different categories. We're going to start with the product news category. Now, first things first. What the hell are we all drinking anymore? Like, seriously, we got hard teas, hard waters, hard milks, hard juices, hard smoothies, hard sodas, hard energy drinks. Everything's hard.
Is there actually a hard milk?
Yes.
Are you counting that Eggo stuff that you guys? Is that hard milk?
Yeah, that was a cream. That was sipping cream.
We still have some of that shit right here behind me if you'd like some of it.
It is still in there. Thanks.
Of course. Oh, yeah, because we pounded through it. Yeah. Yeah, no, we only serve it to guests that we don't like.
You offered it to me.
Of course we did.
It is Appalachian sipping cream, Mike. You know something about Appalachia.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that your heritage? Just drinking hard milk?
Yeah. It is not. The Appalachian part is. The Eggo part, not so much.
Well, where's alcohol going? Because we had the release of Hard Mountain Dew this year. We had the release of Hard Monster Energy drink called Beast Unleashed. We have Hard Simply Lemonades now. Hard Minute Maid Juice just dropped a new juice beverage in a large juice can format.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard everything.
There's the hard coffee from, was that this year or was that last year?
PBR's hard coffee?
Yeah, there was a PBR hard coffee. There is hard everything.
There are lots of signs of the apocalypse, and which is what makes this special so special. It's probably the last Christmas. But this is one of them. I mean, it's just everything is derivative of everything, and it's all dumbed down. And when it's dumbed down 4 or 5 levels, it just keeps dumbing down more.
If everything is being made hard or with booze, is that a good sign for drinking in the United States? Because we're just gonna, every time we're drinking something, we want it to have booze in it, or is that a sign of the apocalypse? That
it could be both. It's probably not a good sign for culture, either from a standpoint of if you like good adult beverages, And also that like, I mean, it sounds like me as a freshman in college, right? Like I gotta put beer. I can't make macaroni and cheese without doing it with beer. You know, I can't walk down the street drinking anything unless I put liquor in it first. I like really kind of feels like that's where we're going as the U.S. at the moment. And I guess, you know, teenage me would have thought that was bitching, but adult me thinks that that's probably, and even drunk adult me thinks that's probably not a good idea.
I'd eat hard mac and cheese.
Yeah, well, sure. I'm not saying,
I mean, it sounds kind of good.
well, maybe make it for Christmas.
Maybe this is just science. Maybe we're at the point in it's like technology has advanced to the point where we can do all this crazy stuff. And just like when the Amish people take their breaks from Amish culture for a couple of years before they go back in, what do they call that? Rumspringa.
Yeah.
We've just realized we can make hard anything now and make it taste okay. So we're just doing it and not thinking about it. We're Rumspringering all over this fucking industry. And, you know, within a couple of years, maybe we'll just go back to normal and be like, yeah, what were we thinking? Hard milk was a terrible idea.
Your premise starts with any of that shit being good, though. I mean, least I take you back to this ego stuff. Would you like me to whip that out so that you can be reminded of what that tastes like?
It doesn't have to taste good if it's got sugar in it. It's just
Sugar,
America,
chemicals,
after all.
and liquor.
We know
America.
it is. I mean, Coke and Pepsi have distribution companies now, alcoholic distribution companies.
American cheese doesn't have cheese in it. So, sure, it seems to track, I guess.
So I guess the question is are we going to expect more of this in 2024? Or did we peak? Are we at peak hardness? Could we get harder in America?
We always can. Well, there's always something else you can put booze
There
in.
is so much. There is so much innuendo that I have avoided so far that I really just hope that we. I
doing
hope that
a
at
pleasant
some
job.
point we. I know. I hope
impressed.
we move off of it, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that we've gotten little sneak peeks of what 2024 is going to be like, and I think that most of us are just going to be drinking just liquor, just whatever can numb the senses to what the next year is going to look like.
Well, I think that really ties into the next couple of things. So we'll touch on more of that later because I think you're onto something there. Let's divert a little bit and talk hard tea. Boston beer hasn't done well this past year. Hasn't done well the past couple of years. Truly's not doing super great. Sam Adams is not doing good at all.
Did Truly ever recover? I mean, Truly came. They put $1 gazillion into Truly, and it just took a massive dump.
It has not. Twisted Tea is growing gangbusters, and that's where they have been putting a lot of investment. Do you think Twisted Tea's reign will continue, or do you think new upstarts like Arizona Hard Tea are going to have a good year?
Hasn't Arizona Hard Tea been out there for a gazillion years?
It just came out this year.
Yeah, it's fairly new.
Okay.
I mean, look, we've got a local hard tea here in town with Geist tea, and
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I freaking think it's great. It's delicious.
It is pretty good.
But I don't drink it that often, and that's what like all of this stuff. Like I sometimes I drink it in the right situation. Although the Eggo, I haven't found that situation yet. But
Oh, it'll come later.
but it's just not. It's just not like
Wait
a
till we're done with
thing.
these
It's like beer always finds a time and a place for me, and booze often finds a time and a place for me. But all this other stuff just becomes like a funny gimmick thing. Like when you're hanging out with your friends and you're already 4 beers deep, you're like, oh, you gotta try this stuff that I saw at the store, and it just becomes this other thing. But it's still valid sometimes. Like it still is fun and sometimes tasty.
Twisted Tea, you might see a little bit of diminution of the market, but I would say that Twisted Tea is one of those dumb drinks like light beer, where it tastes like they're all going to taste
Not dumb,
relatively
but
the
dumbed
same.
down.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a sophisticated palate drink.
Yes.
Is my point. So you're going to see a lot of what people drink based on marketing campaigns and brand identity. So the commercials are going to dictate what sells more than the liquid itself, would be my prediction on hard teas, the same way it historically was with light beers.
I also don't think I've ever seen a Twisted Tea commercial.
I can't say that I have either, but
Like,
plus I'm sure they're at NASCAR.
when we talk about them, just flags, like I just picture lots of Twisted Tea flags, but when we talk about them putting money into Twisted Tea, like what are they putting it into? It's not really a traditional advertising like we're used to. Is it facility expansions and the ability to make more of it? And if so, then does that quickly shift into the next product that they try and the next product that they try? So it's not really specifically Twisted Tea.
But the fact that you haven't seen much of that marketing, I mean, that's one of the things with the really weird media situation.
That's true.
Days. So, the marketing has the ability to get more and more targeted. And although I was being a bit
You're saying there's probably a NASCAR
dismissive.
that has
I mean,
Twisted
if
Tea
you,
on it.
I also have not. Yeah, I watch a car drive around a circle twice. I've had enough of that, right? So maybe there are, if you're watching a lot of NASCAR, maybe there are a bunch of Twisted Tea commercials in that programming. But I'm pretty confident that none of us.
You're assuming I don't watch a lot of NASCAR.
Well, I mean, Twisted Tea has partnered with Ty Dillon, Germain Racing, and Richard Childress Racing for the number 13 Chevrolet SS car. So yes,
and there you have it. I have no idea what the hell you just said.
I don't know what I said either, but those are things that Twisted Tea is doing.
That second one, that's my favorite driver.
Is it?
Yeah, I forgot his name, but he's my favorite driver.
I love that thing. I love that thing that he does where he goes left.
Oh yeah, and then
he goes left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you guys raised interesting points about marketing and advertising. And it got me thinking, we're not far from the Super Bowl. What the hell do you even do if you're a big alcohol company for the Super Bowl? Do you just say, screw it this year, it's not worth the spend?
They've been doing that for the last few years, though. Think about, in the prime of, beer advertising, how many beer commercials and alcohol commercials you saw during the Super Bowl. And then think back to, the last couple of years, you don't see that many of them. There's probably ads in the stadium trying to get you to drink, Coors Light or whatever it is.
Tide Pods.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know that they advertise for you to do that, but you don't see the commercials like you used to. The advertising has shifted to these other things that maybe aren't the same as they used to be.
Yeah, that's a good point. There has been less. I feel like what did we see last year? Was there a Twisted Tea commercial?
It's all Doritos.
Seltzer? Doritos.
All I remember is Doritos.
Speaking of Doritos and weird products, did you guys get that Doritos liquor yet?
Does that exist?
It exists.
So hard Doritos.
I would totally buy it.
Well, we'll bring you in. I already bought some. It's coming. It'll get delivered in next month. So we'll bring you in for the episode.
Nacho cheese or Cool Ranch?
Be bounding up the
No,
stairs
no,
right now.
nacho cheese.
Okay.
It's not Cool Ranch. They haven't figured out how to do the Cool Ranch one yet. They said nacho cheese, they got it on lockdown. So we mentioned it briefly. Truly did not have a good comeback year. White Claw also not really having a great year, but White Claw had a lot of innovation this year. So quickly,
It's about time, I guess.
well, we saw that White Claw came out with the non-alcoholic White Claw seltzer, the first of its kind, non-alcoholic seltzer.
They invented water.
Before. Flavored water has been reinvented. They also have come out with the White Claw vodka. It's flavored vodkas, which that trend died
seltzer.
15 years ago. The hardest seltzer. And now they have White Claw vodka seltzers. They're like high noons. So the question is, are seltzers dead? Are we finally ready to put this fad behind us, this trend behind us? Or did we just hit peak seltzer and we're going to see more innovation like White Claw's doing?
Well, I think people are figuring out that not traditionally brewed seltzer, is that a word that we can use? Traditionally brewed seltzer?
Yes.
Malt-based seltzer.
Traditional from 4 years ago.
Does not taste as good as just booze in fizzy water. Like it tastes better. So people are figuring that out, and that's why they're latching on to High Noons and stuff like that, which I think, I don't have numbers, but I assume High Noon is still doing pretty freaking good.
High Noon had a good year.
So I mean, like it's not seltzer that's in trouble. It's that people are making shitty seltzer. Like now they're figuring out, oh, this is actually what people want when they want seltzer. In my opinion.
Well, I guess
So we're evolving to like vodka tonic.
Yes. So eventually get to the point where people figure out that it tastes better just to take.
High Noon is going to invent. They're going to invent vodka tonic.
we've
next.
leveled up into a 50-year-old white woman.
It's going to come packaged as just seltzer water and a little bottle of vodka, and you mix it yourself, and we'll get there.
So why haven't we seen like hard teas with vodka in them yet, or hard tea bourbons? Why is it still hard to
We have.
FMBs?
It's definitely out there. Like there are them, but they haven't. They just haven't exploded the way that the other stuff has for some god unknown reason.
I mean, Jack Daniels does a prepackaged Jack and Coke, right?
Here, in,
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
here in town, we have Turtles Brew. I don't know if you guys have had that. It's bourbon tea. And it's not very much bourbon in it though. It needs some more bourbon, guys.
You heard it.
But I mean, they're out there. They just people drink what their friends drink, and everybody is drinking Twisted Tea, so that's what everybody's drinking.
So much like this conversation, it seems like we're pretty lukewarm on seltzers just as a country and here as well. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So
I don't feel that I belong in this world anymore, Brett. So actually, it just gets harder for me to make predictions every week. I don't know what the fuck people do.
I think our producer Adam was threatening to kill you earlier today. You could just take him up on that.
I didn't say I want to be out of it. I said I want everybody to just stop doing what they're doing.
Well, you mentioned earlier, towards the beginning of this episode, that things seem to be moving towards higher octane and value and all this shit. So my question to you is, moving on to the beer segment of this product news, the only beer that really, really, really crushed it this year, fucking Voodoo Ranger by New Belgium. Now, on your point, is Voodoo Ranger just not the new malt liquor? The only thing they're going for is most alcohol possible in as big as container as people will purchase at the lowest price possible. That's how they're crushing it. Is that all it is? Is this just the new malt
With
liquor
a
for
lot
millennials?
of fruity flavors and lactose.
Yeah, of course.
and-
Yeah. Well, it's all just crap. Whatever.
If that's what people are wanting, is just the biggest container of the highest octane thing they can get, why aren't they just grabbing bottles of vodka off the shelf? Like, why is it still... Like, they're still looking for something else. I don't really know what that thing is, but they're looking for something that goes with the high octane in the biggest container possible.
Well, why do people even buy malt liquor in the first place then? If there's always gas station vodka at your disposal.
I don't know. They're looking for something. Maybe it's the carbonation. Maybe it's the added sweetness that beer brings to the
Is there
party.
anything about Voodoo Ranger that you are looking for?
It to go away. I don't care if you drink Voodoo Ranger. It's fine. It's not a company that I'm in love with, but
I
just
thought
don't care
that
about it.
I thought that when that first Voodoo Ranger came out, it was decent. It was like, and they did that. I mean, they did a solid New England IPA before everybody in the world was doing a New England IPA. So I don't think it started out awful out of the gate.
Well, the
But
story
it
of,
has definitely...
the story of Voodoo Ranger is that New Belgium wasn't making an IPA, and the sales reps kept asking for an IPA, and they call their sales reps Rangers. So eventually they relented and they said, "Fine, we'll make an IPA. We're going to call it Ranger IPA." And they put that out, and it was out for multiple years. And then this new guy came in as chief marketing officer, and he came from big corporate alcohol.
Yeah.
And he said, "You know what? We're going to take this Ranger line. We're going to call it Voodoo Ranger. We're going to give it a real dumb mascot that we can just dress up and have it do whatever." And boom, that was a catalyst to make it explode. And then they focused on the higher ABV and all the Imperials, and it all went downhill from there. So it started from a cool place, relatively, and it moved into bullshit.
Yeah. Well,
I don't really have a
also-
point for that, but
Why did it catch on the way that it did with people that I would assume most of them are not really craft beer drinkers? They're in a gas station buying a 19.2 ounce can out of the cooler. Why did Voodoo Ranger become
the person who buys the 19.2 at a gas station out of a cooler is just getting off of work. They're hitting the gas station up for their whatever contraband that they want. They're buying a 19.2 or 2, and you're crushing them on the way home. And that way, it's strong enough alcohol and it's enough volume where you're going to have a little bit of buzz going by the time you get home, and that's about it.
But
And
you're
I know that's a lot
you're
of
not-
stereotypes.
You're not
but-
going straight down. You're not drinking a pint of vodka on that drive, which isn't as enjoyable as drinking a beer.
Bubbles are nice.
And it's a approachable craft in the sense that there is a bunch of fruit and lactose and nonsense in it that appeals to I don't know, whoever
Children.
wants to drink. Yes.
So where do we see Voodoo Ranger in 2024? Are we going to continue this growth? I see it devolving, continuing to devolve. We're going to keep focusing on high alcohol, cheap price point, $1.99 for a 19.2, and just more bullshit flavors. That's what I see.
I have to say, honestly, I went to Party Source today, which Party Source is a liquor store we have here. I don't know if it's still the largest liquor store in the United States, but it was for a long time.
It was largest by dollars for a long time. I don't know if it was by volume or not.
I think by like amount of ounces of alcoholic beverage on a single location, retail location, it was the biggest too. But they had the very first beer buyer in the United States, a Party Source. Beer Dave, who we interviewed for this
Dedicated beer buyer.
Yeah, dedicated beer buyer. So his job was to, find good beers to rep here. And their beer selection was unparalleled. Mm-hmm. I was so depressed in there today because, number one, their beer selection has gotten worse and worse and worse. And that's not happening because, they're spiraling down as a business. They're doing quite fine. It's just that they have this massive space that is now dedicated to bourbon, where a bunch of, speaking of Voodoo Range, there's like a bunch of people that I think must be zombies by the just dumb way they roam around bourbon aisle after aisle. But the beer selection sucks. And as I was roaming around the beer selection, looking pretty dumb myself, because I'm like, what's still good anymore? What do these guys carry? And what's still good? And even of the brands that I used to like and were go-to brands, and a couple local ones I'm not going to name, but I'm like, man, I love those beers. Now they're inconsistent as hell, and I don't know what I'm getting when I buy them. And then there's the brands like Bell's Two Hearted, which you brought up a few weeks ago, that looks like it's pulling directly from the Voodoo Ranger playbook, and they're going to spin off Bell's Two Hearted as being 7 or 8 different brands.
Oh, it is the same company.
Same company.
It is the same company.
Oh, I hadn't even put that together.
Bell's New Belgium, I think, is the name of the company. Like the craft offshoot of the larger multinational conglomerate of death. Yeah.
Yeah, and the new version of Bell's Two Hearted.
Yes.
I can remember these things.
Yeah.
I think Kieran owns it, and Lion is the name of their American-based corporate umbrella. And then it's New Belgium Bell's, whatever it is. It's all a bunch of horseshit to trick us.
Bell's was such a great brewery, and that new version of Bell's Two Hearted really is just unfucking drinkable. It is disgusting.
Well, they split.
It was like solidly the most consistent, great beer in the United States.
Well, they split it off
really brilliantly balanced IPA
into like they have Two Hearted and like Half-Hearted and like
Hazy Hearted,
Big Hearted and
Big Hearted,
Hard-Hearted and whatever else they're gonna do.
Hard-Hearted, getting hard.
It's everything that like that
Bell's wasn't.
Yeah, that the craft beer was not supposed to be. It's just which is the evolution of the industry is fine. There are still great breweries out there making great consistent products. It's just not what you're seeing when you walk into places like the Party Source or somewhere else. Like that's what I've seen over the last couple of years is all these places that you used to go to buy craft beer. Yes, they still exist, but the products are not the same thing that you used to go in there for.
No, they're not.
Which is why I spend more time in tap rooms than I do in liquor stores and beer stores anymore.
That's sage advice. This day and age, too, when everybody's struggling for the on-premise, whether it's independent retailers, restaurants, or bars, or tap rooms, or breweries, having someone in the tap room drinking pints is really important. So that's good advice for anyone out there listening. Do what we do.
Find your spot.
Yeah, find your spot, post up, get drunk, and talk about bullshit with some good friends. That's what it's all about. Moving on.
Or just random people that you don't really like all that much.
That's true. The last thing
I'm kidding.
we have,
It's Christmas. I love these guys.
just wait until the buzzballs.
Oh no.
The last product news I want to cover. This will be story number 5. Non-alcoholic products exploded this year. They tripled sales or something this year. It went from 0.1% of the market in alcohol to 0.3. So huge jump, but still fractional. Is it going to continue? Is non-alc here to stay? Is non-alc have a part in your life?
I mean, yes, of course, you have to hydrate after you drink beer heavily. Like, you have to have something that doesn't have alcohol in it, or else I think
Pedialyte.
I think bad things happen. But and I look, if I could buy every non-alcoholic product that I drink from a place that I do get my alcoholic products from, I'm all about it. That's why, like, you talked about the White Claw non-alcoholic seltzer stuff, and which is ridiculous, but if a local company that made seltzer also made a non-alcoholic seltzer, guess what I'm buying instead of LaCroix or whatever other brands that I'm buying? What is the Liquid Death? Like, I would like a local brand. I would like to buy that. I would like that thing to exist in my fridge. I think we're going to see more things like that.
But when it comes to, here's another, same trip to Party Source this morning. I actually was going to pick up a 6-pack of that. Is it like Athletica? That's the
Athletica, yeah.
Those guys are supposed to be doing really,
It's good stuff.
really revolutionary liquid.
Yeah,
But
it's good.
it's like $18 a 4-pack for non-alcoholic beer. Go to hell. I mean, it's like,
Well,
where's the incentive? It's like the food incentive in this country. I want to eat a salad, but the salad's $17. 3 cheeseburgers, meanwhile, are $4.25. Which one do I wind up eating?
The problem with non-alcoholic beer is that the techniques that a lot of people are using to make this, and the ones that taste good, are using these crazy processes that are more expensive and probably more labor intensive and things like that. So it makes them cost more. And as an actual beer, like a real beer drinker, you look at it and you're like, all right, you've taken away one of the pieces of this beer. I don't want to spend more on it. It doesn't feel right to spend more on it.
You're not selling a positive value add. You're selling a negative.
Yep.
And I don't want to spend more money on a negative.
Yep. That's exactly it. It's like if here's this IPA, we made this one without hops, and it's twice as much. Well, why would I buy that? That's not what I wanted out of my IPA in the first place.
As a philosopher once said, nothing from nothing leaves nothing. And you got to have something if you want to be with me.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That's it for our product news of 2023. We're moving on to producer news. Now, we have a couple big stories for you in our producer's news segment. I want to first touch on something that is near and dear to all of our hearts as craft beer fans, historians, lovers, appreciators, and those who want to see it just do well, craft beer that is. Anchor v. Sapporo. Mike, why was this story important this year?
The story's important because Anchor Brewing Company was America's very first craft beer, and it was still the same liquid, still being made really well, still a very interesting beer with this incredible legacy and heritage. And to have this huge, greedy, international company come in and kill off the brand was in and of itself sad, but that is combined with the fact that the people that ran the brewery, the employees that were there, wanted to make a bid to try to buy this company. And this gazillion-dollar company refused to even have meaningful conversations to let these brewers and these locals in the San Francisco area buy this brewery and keep on this great American brewing tradition. So it was something that we lost as a culture. I mean, definitely as a beer culture. Mm-hmm. I think as an American culture, it's something that we lost, and we didn't lose it because it died of natural causes. We lost it because it was killed by fucking greed by an international foreign company. And that's disgusting.
To shed a little light on that, what happened is Sapporo bought Anchor, realized it wasn't going to grow like they wanted to grow, which is never sustainable.
Because it had a cap for what it was.
And it didn't fit their narrative.
On top of that, they wanted to make Sapporo at Anchor.
Yes.
When
And
they
it
first
didn't,
bought it.
and the facility didn't work.
Didn't understand what Anchor was, and that was just not going to happen. So then they went and bought Stone, and we can make Sapporo here. Let's get rid of this shit and just.
And then they just basically said, "Fuck it."
Yep.
They just wrote off the investment and ruined all of that American history.
Not because it couldn't make money. It couldn't make as much money as they wanted to make on it. And they wouldn't let somebody else be satisfied just making money, making a great beer, and maintaining this tradition.
It's hard for any big business to maintain a soul with what they do. Like, that's just the nature of. They have some kind of fiduciary duty to their shareholder. Whatever, I get it, but that's the nature of these. When a big company comes in and buys something that has soul, some of that's going to die. It always does.
No, do you think that this specific destruction of American craft beer history will have a lasting impact?
I don't buy that it's dead. I still think that there is hope that the group of employees is still not stopping. They have
That news did just come out this week
they
that they are going to try to buy the IP
they still
at
have
auction.
They're going to try to buy the IP, but they're also still talking to several other investors that can then, on top of that, help get something else. They're hoping somebody comes in and buys all of the stuff and then works with them to kind of create something that can still go. So it's not dead yet.
Okay, let's say it is dead. Let's say it gets auctioned.
I mean, they've
off the
already
price.
auctioned off the building to other people, the brewing equipment. You know, they've
Well,
cut
it
up
hasn't
and
gone
made
to
it's
auction
not-
yet. It
not
is
yet.
going to auction. Everything will be parsed
Oh,
out.
I thought
and
the
go to auction.
physical facilities had already been sold.
No, the
not
building is being sold separate from the equipment, which is being
All
sold
being sold
separate from the IP, but none of it has actually
They've been
gone to
split
auction.
up as separate auction items, but
Yes.
nothing's been sold.
It hasn't yet. So let's say it does all sell separate and get sold for parts. What impact do you think this has on craft beer? What's it saying about the future of craft beer, if anything? Or do you think this is just it's gone and we forget about it and
Again,
move on?
the optimist in me. If somebody buys Anchor's equipment, who's it going to be? It's going to be another craft brewery. It's going to be somebody that's trying to snag the equipment.
You don't
for
think it's going to be a
something.
cannabis company?
What do you do with brewing equipment if you're a cannabis company right now?
Cannabis beverages?
Why would you buy Anchor for that? It doesn't make. It's going to be a craft brewery.
Why would you buy it if you're Sapporo without doing your due diligence and understand that that facility wouldn't work for you?
That's true. There are.
They didn't
probably
speak
also
English, and that
idiots.
doesn't make them that.
The optimist, feels like somebody buys the equipment. It's a craft brewery. They sit on it, and at some point, Anchor is rebirthed, and they're like, "Hey, we've got this equipment that we bought. It is yours if you want to buy it." And they sell it back to them, and Anchor is born again. I'm a endless optimist to a fault.
Well, I like where your head's at. I don't know. I think it's just a symptom of where the craft beer industry is and capitalism as a whole, though. I think Anchor, IP
Sure.
aside, I don't think this specific thing says much more than what we've already seen with New Belgium and Voodoo Ranger and Bell's and everything else.
I think Anchor's one of those opportunities to have these like little shining lights within the darkness of what craft beer has become. It's like you can still see that there is good within all of this shit that exists. Like there's the way people were kind of woke up. It's like when your grandma dies and everybody's like, "Oh man, I should have gone and visit her more," and everybody's like, "Well, you didn't, and now she's dead and you can't." That's what Anchor was like. Everybody was like, "Oh my God, what's happening to Anchor?" And people are like, "You should have gone and visited her." And they're like, "Yeah, but now I can't." You can, like, it's still there, and there's still that chance, and I think Grandma can come back from the dead.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Buy a 6-pack of your favorite local beer, take it to Grandma, and get fucked up.
Grandma. Happy holidays,
You ain't
Grandma.
gonna get another Christmas with that old bag. Well,
The gnome's grandma has been cut into pieces. He still visits her.
I still believe she can come back.
Well, speaking of coming back in rebirth, Kid Rock is back in our lives, and we
Thank
love him
God.
for it.
Oh,
This is story number 2, Bud Light. My God, where do we begin? Dylan Mulvaney, Kid Rock, flagging sales, Modelo overtaking Bud Light in the number 1 spot for the most sold beer in America. Teamsters strike that just got approved this week. Where do you guys want to begin?
it's been a roller coaster ride of douchebaggery.
So, to give you an update, if you've been in your head under a rock, Dylan Mulvaney, who is a famous trans TikToker, social media personality,
famous
influencer. Well, no, she was pretty damn famous at the time, but it doesn't matter. Famous for her niche. She got a can made for her millionth follower or something like that.
One can.
One can made that was
It's like wraparound
LGBTQA
print
positive.
label.
That she has since lost.
Oh, is that she? Oh, God.
She said she's not sure where it is.
And this started a death spiral that Bud Light has not been able to recover from. We're talking sales down 30% year over year. That has not recovered a percentage point yet. Kid Rock, Mike's favorite person, came out, shot a whole bunch of cases up with a AR.
With some help from friends.
With some help from friends, off screen.
His buddy shot him behind him because he didn't even know how to use the gun.
Which makes it even better.
Right.
I love you, Kid Rock.
And then Kid Rock recently came out like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and said that the boycott's over. He doesn't kick people while they're down. Bud Light's paid their penance.
He was drinking Bud Light the whole time, too. There were all kinds of pictures that came out of him at different events drinking it. He was just, it's all a bunch of bullshit.
The reason was he owns this bar, and he's like, "Whoa, what? Bud Light is my best-selling beer, and I'm losing money off of this."
It's all
I believe
bullshit.
now I have too much integrity to continue to shit on Bud Light.
You guys don't know this when you're watching the show, but before the show starts, every episode, Mike stands right there and chugs a big thing of Sapporo. He talks on the show like he hates it, but he just chugs them every day before the show starts.
Folks, do you see this cooler behind us?
I do find it genuinely.
This cooler works. And you know what's in this cooler? Fucking cold Sapporo. There's cold Sapporo in this cooler.
Yeah, but that's because we shot a bunch of them like months ago, and those are still there because they suck and nobody wants
I swear
to
it's not mine, it's a friend's.
God damn it.
What's even real?
You know what the difference between Kid Rock and you, Mike, is?
A bunch of money.
Yeah, but Light at least paid him to come back on his boycott.
Support
I really
it
genuinely
if
don't
you want to pay
drink
Mike
that
to come
piss.
back.
But I will. But yes, yeah.
Well, what's this say about Modelo being the #1 beer in America? I mean, that's crazy. A imported beer from Mexico. I mean, I think it says a lot about the importance of just immigration as a whole for this country and the fact that we kind of need other countries and other people to like make our country great. But on a more actual standpoint, Modelo.
Why Modelo? Like, why is that the one
Solidly
that-
mediocre.
Yeah, how did that catch on?
I think that's a combination of things. I think you do have a quickly growing Hispanic American population, and at the same time, I think more, your Midwest population has always thought of import beers as fancy.
Sure.
And so for a lot of people, that's meant like Corona, and you stick lime in it. And Corona's always been disgusting beer.
Just like Stella, also trash.
Yeah,
Or Beck's
also
or Heineken.
none of those are good beers, but they're fancy because they're foreign. So you've got that combination of people that are drinking it because maybe they drank Modelo wherever their family is originally from or wherever they immigrated from. And that is combined with
I don't buy-
people from Iowa who are drinking it because it's fancy, because it's foreign.
I don't buy that people in Mexico are drinking a bunch of Modelo.
Yeah, maybe
I
not.
don't buy it. I mean, maybe they are. I haven't been. But
It's probably Tecate and Pacific.
it's some other weird thing. Like there's
Yeah.
some guy in a suit sitting somewhere at a table. He's like, this is what we're going to push. We're going to put it in as many bars as we can and just have it. So that's the option that's in front of people that seems fancy, that isn't, Corona or
Did
whatever.
Corona not get the #1 spot because of the coronavirus?
I think
Did
that
COVID kill
plays into
Corona?
it. I also,
There was some really depressingly stupid stuff around that, yeah.
Yes.
People, there was like it was like an Onion headline that was real. There was some percentage of people that thought that Corona gave you coronavirus.
I also think that like this whole marketing gimmick with sticking the lime in the Corona, there are a lot of people that think, oh, I can't drink that bottle of Corona because I don't have any limes. And I think that factors into it, that it seems
Well,
like
fruit's
too
also
much.
gay.
it seems too much work, or maybe it makes you homosexual, or what? I don't know.
Well,
but I would say too much work.
That's interesting. I can't buy Corona if I don't have limes in my house, and I don't want to buy limes.
I've got this Corona sitting here, but I can't drink it because I'm out of limes.
That's science.
Plus, my knife is dirty, so I can't.
Corona with a lime will in fact make you gay. Just like the
That
conspiracy
explains
with
that.
the frogs that Alex Jones is happy to
They're
explain.
making the frickin' frogs gay.
Yeah. I forget what makes the frogs gay, but what makes humans gay is definitely...
The limes are making the frickin' humans gay.
You know what? I went to Mad Tree the other day and I got Safety Falcon, their Mexican lager, and they put a lime in it. And ever since then, I've thought that Brett looks a little bit attractive.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the haircut. Maybe it's the lime. I don't know.
Well, that's an interesting thing. They put the lime in it. Do they do that because it's consumer expectation, or do they actually purposely skunk the beer and put the lime in it?
No, they do it to cover up the fact that it's terrible beer.
Corona
Yeah, but-
is not usually skunky. They've got all the extracts and stuff instead of actual hops. It's usually not skunky.
Was it skunky at one point?
I don't know.
I remember it.
It doesn't even matter.
He's much older than us.
You know
need to
what?
remember.
You know what matters? Sean Diddy Combs. That's who matters.
Oh,
Speaking of
man, it
producers.
does matter.
And this is our next story. Sean Diddy Combs versus Diageo. Now, we have a theory that you guys out there don't know who Diageo is and you don't know who Diddy is. One's a company, one's a piece of shit human. Both are run by shitbags.
Yeah.
One's the world's largest alcohol company involved with liquor, Diageo. One's the world's largest douchebag.
Diageo also makes Guinness, right? Don't they own Guinness?
Yes, they do own Guinness. They do. And Harp and Kilkenny and...
And they're getting ready to sell all of that.
Yes. In addition to dealing
pay
with
attention.
all the issues with Diddy. So that was our other big story. I feel like this story doesn't resonate as well with you guys out there because, like, who really gives a shit about any of that stuff? Mike, I didn't know if you wanted to fire off any shots before we moved on.
I love this story. This is one of the stories that we talk about a lot. I love it just because, well, it's sort of like the Kid Rock, Bud Light kind of thing in the sense that...
Just with more
like, with more rape, sure.
Well, that we know of.
That was what that story was.
Legend rape. Love you, Diddy.
He loves you too. You
Don't
better watch
sue me.
out. He loves you too.
Innocent until proven guilty of rape, but definitely guilty of being a massive asshole, regardless. But that's like the Bud Light thing. I think that the reason for the death spiral of Bud Light was stupid. But, also Bud Light can die. And so it's just kind of fun. With Diageo and Diddy, I really hope that they kill each other. And that's why I love that story.
One brings down the other?
Yeah, anytime anybody gets a good hit in, we all win. It's everybody else that wins. And I also love the fact that, the balls on Diddy, what you do have to say about him is that this guy is making the majority of his money just by lending his name to this company. And that amount of money is something like $50 million a year. And he has the balls to bitch. Like, all he's doing is saying, yeah, you can brand this shitty tequila with my name. And he's making over $50 million a year doing that. And he somehow found something to complain about in that process.
Mike, that is a premium price tequila.
What's the name of the tequila? Do we remember that?
De Leon.
Douchebag.
De Leon?
it's De
That's what
Leon.
it is? I've never even
Yeah.
heard of it. Never had it.
No.
Inflation
Douche
sucks.
canoe. Anejo douche canoe is the name of it.
Oh, that's nice.
That sounds fancy.
Canoe aged.
There's notes of a lime, and it's fine.
We're going to move on to state of the industry news. The first story that kind of begets all these stories is inflation sucks.
It does suck.
It is basically...
I'm against it.
Largely, there's a lot of things with inflation that we'll get into throughout the rest of this segment. But the big takeaway is 2023 was the start of the big, great trade down. People are still buying alcohol. People will always buy alcohol. But people will trade down when times get tough. And we are in a large trade down. Does it ever get better? Or are we just now buying cheap forever? Does craft beer ever get cheaper?
No, I mean, there are most Americans alive today haven't seen real inflation. I mean, we went through a unprecedented period of time where we saw
Great
growth
Depression. How
without.
I've heard about that.
Let me ask producer Adam. You fucking did. No. I also was not buying gas in the 70s. But they do have these things called books, which I can't explain to you. They used to be like hardbound and stuff.
Do they call it the internet?
It's like the internet, except they used to like put it
Got an app that's
physical
physical
things.
website.
Yeah, it's like we'll Google a picture of one. But
We
you know
use
the inflation.
Google. Such a boomer.
Oh my God!
She's talking. I'm sorry, man.
The point is,
I can't believe you're able to bring that back. Keep it going.
in the 70s and 80s, you had inflation that was just way, way beyond what we've experienced in the past couple of years, which doesn't mean that it hasn't sucked and it hasn't had ramifications. But it does mean that it's not like, oh, we just quit ever buying expensive shit. The economy took a hit for a while, it got better.
But in the 70s and the 80s, when that inflation was happening, did the price of a pint of beer, did it change?
I think you saw inflation across. I'm not an expert on it. I think that you saw inflation across the board. There were areas because there were exacerbating factors with gas. Like gas was
Right.
really out of control. But there was inflation with everything. I mean, a normal residential loan on a house could be 15, 16%.
Right.
So that's going to trickle down to absolutely everything, the cost of everything that you're buying.
But we don't see it like with big beer. You don't see the price of that change that much because they've got these long-term contracts or buying massive
And
quantities
that's
or
all
whatever
that,
it is.
and that's all that anybody was drinking in the 70s and 80s.
Whereas now,
So you're correct. I mean, you didn't have the craft beer industry at that time to take that hit because
Right.
it didn't exist. Nobody was selling that commodity on that scale. You had more regional breweries,
Well,
and a lot of them died.
speaking of craft beer taking the hit, that's into our next story. Craft beer has posted its first ever decline since craft beer started in the 70s. Gnome, is the golden age of craft beer over?
it's changing. I think that we will, like any kind of product or industry, I think we'll see ebbs and flows. I definitely think it's hit a different age in craft beer, but whether or not the golden age is over is kind of a very broad stroke to put on it. I think that it's growing up. It's becoming an actual thing now. It's normal. It's part of this bigger picture that for a long time it wasn't. It was a weird little niche that was growing and becoming something.
Another way to
It's
say
something
something
now.
slightly different is yes.
I don't
It's
know.
fucking over.
I don't want to say that it's over. I think that it's definitely changing.
We've hit our 20s and it's time to find a real job. Is that where craft beer is at?
But craft beer can be a real job if it's done properly. Whereas before it was just some kind of fun little hobby that people that liked beer were doing.
You would, though, have to live in a country where anti-monopoly laws were still enforced. And the current presidential administration, which will expire forever, a year from now, they really are trying to do some prosecution of anti-monopoly cases. But it's been the first time that anybody has taken anti-monopoly serious in this country since the 70s or 80s. So, I mean, I think it's dead because I think that we're going to continue to see the general market trends, and not just craft beer, but in everything, is that it is going to be increasingly impossible for small businesses to be profitable.
I would argue that it's somewhere in between. I think nationally, maybe even creeping into regionally, innovation within craft beer is probably going to stagnate. We might see a decrease in total number of options. But I think more than ever, there's a huge opportunity for the local. And while there might be more churn than there ever has been, I think there's going to be more opportunity than ever for local places like Fibonacci to really...
It's the first place that popped into my head, too.
To own their neighborhood, to live the values that the neighborhood wants people to live, and grow and innovate within that. And I think that's where we're really going to see this next wave of movement.
And how is that not the golden age of craft beer? That I can walk down the street from my house, sit down at a brewery that makes one barrel of beer at a time, that has goats that live next door. That's the golden age of craft beer. Like, if you told that to Fritz Maytag when he bought Anchor, he would have laughed. If you told that to Jim Cook, he would have said, that's maybe one day we could get there.
Well,
This is we're there.
I mean, we're not there, but I think that's a valid point, that you could see a die off, and at the same time a die off and or a regression from a business standpoint, at the same time that you start to see just a distinction between craft breweries all trying to become bigger and bigger and bigger, and this business that is just like a good neighborhood bar that makes really creative stuff because it can.
What is craft beer?
And that would, in fact, I mean, there is great beauty in that.
Which I don't even know if the last time you were here, that episode even made it to air because we got so fucking drunk. But we spent probably an hour waxing poetically, often horribly, about what is even craft.
It made it to air, but it was very edited. I don't know how these guys did it.
That was a rough one. I don't know what happened. We must not have eaten lunch that day or something. That was a tough one. Well, okay. Last story before we move on to the top Christmas beers of the year. Well, Brett's top Christmas beers, then you guys can tell me how wrong I am. Anti-alcohol neo-prohibitionist movement is gaining steam across the globe. Now, this is largely spurred by the people who were able to make cigarettes socially uncouth and basically get them banned from everywhere and really do a good job public health-wise. But they are bored because they've won, and they have all the war machine moving, and they're aiming their targets at alcohol. Good or bad? Could you
Good
do you
or
me,
bad?
Do you want me to vague it up anymore?
I mean, look, much like cigarettes, much like a lot of things, alcohol is not healthy for you. You should probably be careful when you're drinking. It is a poison that we're putting into ourselves. So I can't say that it's bad, but it is strange that when you go and you buy a pack of cigarettes or a box of cigars, there's a big giant warning label on it that tells you, hey, just a reminder, this is really bad for you. But if you go and you buy a big thing of that gas station vodka we were talking about, it doesn't say that at all.
It says,
It's got right here, government warning.
don't drink it if you're pregnant.
That is very different than what you see on a pack of cigarettes. That is strange. So I can see why they are shifting their focus into it. I get it. But this idea that if the idea is this prohibition of alcohol and you want to remove alcohol from more places and more things, I say that is bad because I like to drink.
Same. Mike, is it time for craft cigarettes to make a comeback?
Craft cigarettes?
Yeah, why not?
No, it's not. It's not time for cigarettes to make a comeback anywhere at all. And I would to your
You won't smell like a bar if you aren't allowed to go to one anymore.
I don't think we're not going to be allowed to go to bars. I think I actually fall in Gnome's same territory. I think to the extent that industries are being killed off or your choices are being limited, that's bullshit. But at the same time, I guess, the first thing that came to my mind, you were talking about warning labels. I thought about this dive bar I used to go to, that always had these T-shirts that said, "The liver is evil and must be punished." You know what? At the end of the day, really funny when I was 20. As it turns out, it's not that fucking funny. I mean, I think that we should be allowed to drink. We should be allowed to go to the grocery store and drink and whatever. But I also think that there is a certain amount of messaging that should be a bit more responsible. So
we're not even talking about the marketing towards children that is alleged with beers that are, look like tricks when you look at the can, things like there is like a weird kind of thing that has happened.
You can't tell me Buzzballs with the Z with Strawberita is not marketed towards adults and adults only.
Absolutely. What?
This bright red ball packaging is
My 4-year-old would love that.
There is no way I would try to buy one of those in 7th grade. Yeah, I mean, Brett, that shit probably needs to stop.
There's probably a warning label on that, but you know what? My kids can't read, so they don't care about the warning label.
Yeah, the warning label says this is not a Tide Pod, it's fine to drink.
It does look like a Tide Pod. This is the first half of the Boozemas special. So, if you need to refill your glass, now would be a good time to do so. Check out our other content. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Head on over to the Gnarly Gnome.
Like button.
Do all
Smash
that.
it.
Do all that good stuff. And, yeah. Oh, Patreon. We're both on Patreon. Hit us up. Check us out. And do all that good stuff.
I am a patron of their Patreon. I'm a Patreon of their patron.
Yes.
I'm one of those. They've never given me shit for it. I just give them money every month.
We give you cheese and get you drunk, motherfucker.
That's true.
What is this?
There is cheese.
This is our subscriber bonus content holiday episode. If you subscribe, you will also be invited. There might be 4 of us next year.
Your fucking gift.
Yes. I'm not drinking that stuff.
Now, to be fair to the Appalachian Sip and Cream, our cooler did go out for 2 weeks in the middle of the summer before we got it fixed, and it sat there the whole time, and it still smells okay. So I'm sure it's okay. It was only 90 degrees up here.
It's ironic. It smells much better than that cheese, and the cheese is delicious.
Now,
It doesn't say you have to keep it refrigerated.
Because there's fucking gasoline in it.
well, now that you got something to drink and you were ready to dive into part 2 of the Boozemas special, let's get to it.
Chug it.
Let's
Chug.
It's like the mix that you're supposed to put on the waffle maker. It's just this thick. Oh, no.
It smells like what it says. Honorable mention before we get into all this is the Anchor Christmas Ale. Now, we would be remiss if we didn't mention it. It was the original Christmas beer in this country, and it's a shame to see it go.
It was still made this year. There was Christmas ale this
Did you
year.
get your hands on any?
No. I think you had to go to California to get it, but
I didn't know if you had connections. Ship it out.
no.
Mike, do you want to say a little eulogy for Anchor and Anchor Christmas Ale before we move on to the hit list?
I liked you more than the gnome's grandma, but you're both good people.
Did you say goat people or good people?
Good people. But
My grandma did kind of look like a goat a little bit.
My God!
She was very goat-like. I'm not going to say which grandma I'm referring to, because the other one did not look like a goat.
Was it the cloven hooves? Okay, the first, I'm going to break this down. We're going to start at 12 being the, still amazing because it's in the top 12, but the highest, down, or the lowest down to the highest, number 1. Fuck. These are at the bottom of the list and we're going to the top. Now, these I group in a category called holiday party beers that you're going to bring holiday beer to. Holiday parties that you're going to bring holiday beers to. God.
Can I ask one question? What makes a holiday beer?
Now, see, it can
Am
be
I jumping
up to
ahead?
you. It's up to you.
Okay.
It's up
I'm
to
still
you.
stuck on understanding the fucking category.
The category is holiday party beer that you bring holiday beers to.
beer.
Wait,
That
fuck.
still doesn't make sense.
You're going to a holiday party. You need to bring a holiday beer. Okay, that's
What
the category.
beer do you take to a
God
Christmas
damn
party?
it!
Okay.
The top three, the three, number 12, number 11, number 10 that I have in this category for myself
Thank
are
Christ he's not in marketing.
Deschutes Jubilee, Sam Adams Old Fezziwig, and 12 Dogs of Christmas by Thirsty Dog. Now, I think we need to point out Old Fezziwig, because this was the first year you could buy it in 6-packs. Up till now, 27 years in, you could only buy it in a mix pack of Sam Adams beers. So these beers to me are relatively, not that aggressive for people. They're a little sweet. They're maybe just easy drinking. They're relatively affordable, and it's going to be festive. That to me is perfect for bringing to a holiday party. I don't need to keep it in my fridge. I don't want to spend too much, but I still want to drink something good. I'm not going to be mad if I take this to a party and someone drinks 4 and I only get 2. Now, what do you guys have in this category? Anything that you prefer to take to a holiday party this time of year?
Yeah, see, my brain goes a whole different direction. I'm bringing a case of Little Kings.
Okay,
That's a
okay.
holiday thing in
Yeah.
my family. You bring the case and crack it open, and everybody kind of flocks. Oh my God, you got Little King! I remember these. Little killers. It's that's a holiday beer for me.
You non-Cincinnatians, Little Kings is basically a cream ale in 7-ounce bottles, and that makes it a shitload of fun.
Yeah, they're awesome.
This is kind of like that white elephant thing we were through.
You don't even go to holiday parties?
I haven't been to a
Fucking
fucking
Scrooge
holiday
McDuck
party
over here.
in so many years. I can't remember the last time.
This is a
Can't-
holiday party.
This is a holiday party.
First, well,
This is what Mike brings to holiday parties, apparently. He splashes hard.
There you go.
Goes to one every 5 years.
Eggo sipping cream. Does that count?
Yeah. I've been saving up since the last one I went to in 2016.
This next category I call the oh shit, it's back. I gotta have this at least once this year. That for me is Slay All Day by Masthead, which is a spruce tip IPA. Delirium Noel, which is now called Delirium Christmas. Which is an interesting decision. They have
Is this the
realized that
Belgian, delirium tremens?
it's like Delirium Tremens, but their Christmas one. It's delicious, but they decided to call it Christmas now instead of Noel because we're dumb.
We are.
Mad Elf by Trogs, which is 11.5% Belgian cherry beer.
Trogs.
It's in Pennsylvania. And the last one in this category is Avery Old Jubilation. It's an old ale, which you can never fucking find any time of year except for now, and it's a delicious old ale.
Yeah, see, and the Delirium Noel, I feel like you can probably find that year-round sitting on a shelf at any finer beer store.
That's true.
So I
That's
think
true.
that's a bad one for this category because you can always find it. Be July and you
gotta hunt a little bit
I'm
more
gonna
for
get
it,
this
though.
and toss it in my cellar so that I've got it for Christmas.
That's true. That's a good point.
I think you said Old Fezziwig for the holiday
Mm-hmm.
ales that you bring to holiday ales parties.
Yes.
Category. I think that's a great one for me. Like when I see that come back, even if it's in a mixed pack, I don't care if it was you had to buy 3 cases of beer to get 1 bottle of Old Fezziwig. I'm buying those cases so I can get that bottle of Old Fezziwig because I need it at Christmas time. That's one for me. Little Kings also, when I see it, I'm like, I need this.
Regardless of the time of the year, I'm getting this 7-ounce bottle.
I need to celebrate.
Have you had, so Little Kings is one of those beers, Cincinnati brand, although 26, 28 state distribution at its peak, it has gone through several iterations,
Yeah.
and they just did a new formula with it. Have you
It's
had-
back. It is so good now.
Yeah, it's they
That
brought
brewery
back
has really redone everything so
Yeah.
wonderfully.
Yeah.
they brought back the guy, and I'm blanking on his last name, but John used to oversee all of the production of Little Kings when it was at Shanley, the original Little Kings, and so that's theoretically what they brought back with this, and it's solid. It's
But
good.
always buy it in the case so that they're protected from the light. Don't ever buy a single Little King that you see sitting on a shelf somewhere.
Clever.
Because it's green bottle. It's going to get skunked. Get it in a case. They should only come in cases.
Mike, is there anything else this time of year that you are excited that has made a comeback?
No.
Okay. All right.
You get excited about anything.
The next
I like, it's we. I don't like a lot of those heavily spiced beers at all. I think that Great Lakes has consistently been doing a spectacular Christmas ale. I did used to like the Anchor Steam one. And every now and then you'll find a good one here or there, but most of the ones that I taste tend to be over the top. So, I don't buy a lot of them, and I don't buy a lot of them in part because we also talked about the fact that beers are just screwed up seasonally now, where, anytime after about August, you can't buy a pumpkin beer even if you wanted one, which I don't. And with Christmas beers, at Party Source today, I was surprised by the fact that they did have still some Christmas beer there, but only the shit that nobody wanted anymore.
See, Christmas beer, I think, still kind of exists well in its season. Like, you can go all over town right now and get, Great Lakes is a great example. It's on tap everywhere. You can still find it on places.
I couldn't buy any of it by bottle today, but
this was a fun experience the other day. I was at a bar and there was Great Lakes on tap, and I ordered it, and she's like, "Do you want it with the cinnamon?" And I'm thinking, oh, this is great. It's got a little cinnamon rim on the glass. And I said, of course I do. And she's like, okay, I'll get it. And she walked over, and it was pretty far away, and I could see her, and she takes my beer. She grabs a thing of cinnamon, and she just starts telling me. I'm trying to say, that's good. And she can't hear me because she's so far away, and she's just going to town. And there was about an inch of cinnamon on top of the head of the beer. And a great thing about that beer is that head lasts while you're drinking your beer. It's a great, well-crafted beer. But you get to the bottom, and it's this cinnamon sludge of a beer. It was terrible. It was heavily spiced.
Yeah, I've seen the cinnamon sugar rim
the rim's
before.
great. That's great. You can. It's gone in a minute, but no. Don't do that.
This next category I call Santa's Sippers. And this is number 5, 4, and 3 on the list. These are beers that I like to have either sharing with my wife or just if I want to have a beer for the night and I'm buying a big ass bottle, this is what I'm going for. Number 5, Bourbon County Brand Stout by Anheuser-Busch. Yes, I'll still go for it. Number 4, Blackout Stout barrel-aged version from Great Lakes. Holy shit, I love a good dry stout. You can't find them hardly anymore, let alone barrel-aged. Count me in. And number 3, St. Bernardus Christmas Ale in a 750. That is a good time in a bottle if you're drinking it to yourself.
I agree with most of those. Disagree with the Bourbon County Brown Stout. I'm not buying any of that shit. I will go down to my beer cellar, which is actually just the overflow of all the things that don't fit in the fridge that won't go bad sitting on a shelf. And I'm grabbing a big Imperial Stout, probably local one that I've got because I buy too many of them. Same idea though, just big boozy stout, something that you can kind of sit and sip on while you watch Christmas Vacation for the 37th time.
Yes, or folding Christmas gifts or whatever you're doing. Yes,
Yes,
after the kids are in bed, ideally.
Folding Christmas gifts is something that we do before we wrap them.
Shit.
Now you know you got a shirt.
I think it's time I change my outfit for this episode. It's getting a little hot in here.
Or Brett's used underwear.
Oh, boy.
This
Mike.
Paper Boxers was brought to you by...
Mike, what do you like to enjoy by yourself on the holidays?
Porn.
Oh, my goodness.
Fold this up and... It's a reference to when it used to be on actual paper for anybody that's confused right now. How you
Yeah. We'll Google what a penthouse used to look like. Sorry. I don't buy a lot of those. Oh, it's free. It's the only good thing about technology.
Sport craft porn, goddammit.
I don't buy a lot of those like really big beers, Imperial beers, bottled. When I want one, actually back to your thing about tap rooms, I live very close to a brewery called Wooden Cask that does, I like his beers year round, but what he really does well are traditional English styles. And the things that he does most brilliantly are those complex barrel-aged beers. So he does this like barrel-aged named Corruption, which is really complex and deep. It's a beautiful beer, and it's like 12, 14% or some crazy nonsense. Well, so when I want one of those, I tend to not. It's probably best to drink those beers by myself, but I go out in public and do it instead.
Oh, that's
But
good.
I like that specifically with Wooden Cask. He packages those in smaller formats, so you don't have to get a big giant bottle of a big 11, 12% Imperial Stout. You can have it by yourself and not worry about how you're going to feel the next day.
Well, the last two on the list, the top 12, or the top 1 and 2, Sierra Nevada Celebration and Great Lakes Christmas Ale. That rounds out my list.
Those are both excellent.
Yeah, they're just, I'll always have it in my fridge all holiday season, and I will never turn one down. Is there any other Christmas beers on the good list that you guys need to mention?
So outside of Cincinnati, Thirsty Dog makes a great Christmas ale also that I think everybody needs to get. Within Cincinnati, I love Thunder Snow. It's not really Christmas as much as it is just kind
had
of
a couple
winter
last
season. There's a couple great Christmas IPAs around. Jubilee down at Braxton, Holidays at Mad Tree. I'm missing tons of them because I did not do any prep and make any notes.
Oh, the
they
West Side
still-
holiday beer is good too.
Are they still making Thunder Snow?
Oh
Yeah, I just had one last night. 2 of them.
I teach this beer class, and I remember one of the things with Thunder Snow is a long time ago because it was Mad Tree's original location, and so I just started teaching that class not very long, and the original location was so small that we had to break the class down into 2 groups. So one group sat at the bar while the other group did a tour, and then they did a tasting, and Thunder Snow had just came out. So the second group, it was the only time in teaching that class that I had a problem with a student being drunk because he'd sat there drinking,
Just crushed Thunder Snows.
crushing Thunder Snows, and he almost pissed in a closet. It was a whole thing. It was very
Holy crap.
ugly. I mean, I felt for him. I was empathetic for him, but it's dangerous. That Thunder Snow is dangerous.
It is dangerous.
Well, we're moving on to the naughty list before we wrap the Boozemas special up, and it's only fair that we drink Buzzballs. Buzzballs, this episode is brought to you by Buzzballs. When you're looking to hang out with your kids who are probably punching you in the balls, get buzzed up by drinking Buzzballs. Now, the naughty list.
That's good balls.
Anyway, can we have another one?
Another Buzzball?
Yeah, just give me.
I'm not holding 2 of them. And
No,
then
come on.
We're going to rip through this naughty list. My naughty list consists of 5 things.
Oh, that's fucking disgusting.
The first category is it drinks like a candle, and it includes Southern Tier 2 Xmas and Shiner Holiday Cheer. I hate Shiner Holiday Cheer. I know lots of people like it. That
Is that
beer
the
is garbage.
pecan something
Yes,
or other? Yeah.
fucking foul. The next category I call the bland.
Oh.
Is this on that list?
It is now.
Write that down right now.
The truly disgusting. I have anything with peppermint and now Buzzballs.
You know,
Yeah.
if you put some more tequila in this and a little bit of
You
carbonated
should
water,
mix some
it would
of
be-
this
I'm not
with-
doing that. You could make this drinkable, but you need a lot of other
You could probably
things.
mix the 2 of these.
I think the only other 2 bad Christmas
Did
beers.
you say anything with peppermint?
Yes.
Because that's a load of crap. My favorite Christmas drink is peppermint schnapps, and it's a very specific peppermint schnapps, and that's Voltage peppermint schnapps.
Voltage peppermint schnapps?
It tastes like liquefied candy canes. It is so good. And I've tried many peppermint schnapps, and the other ones all suck. Especially that Thunder 101. Have you ever had this?
I've never
It's
even
terrible.
heard of Thunder 101.
It looks like it says Thunder Lol on the can, or the bottle. Which
Is that on purpose, I assume?
I assume so. It's
Yeah.
The
terrible.
producers love it when I move around. By the way.
What's he doing back there? Oh, he's got to get a bigger glass for more Buzzballs.
Oh my god, he's about to chug a Buzzball, everyone. This is going to be bad. The last category, and we're going to wrap this fucker up, is I call it the
Not
bland.
time.
They're not bad Christmas beers, they just don't taste like anything. In Breckenridge Christmas Ale and Bell's Christmas Ale, I lump both into that category. Don't care to have them, don't need them ever again. Don't know if either of you guys have had those beers before, but hard pass for me.
I don't know if I have. And if I had, I probably won't remember because I can't remember half the things I've drank. I'll
Well,
remember
that's true.
this.
Oh, well, how can you forget? We have, did you open
Ooh.
up the Buzzball with the
Oh,
chocolate or?
you got to mix them. They're
I don't
fantastic.
want to do that. I don't want to do that. Well, is there anything else you boys want to say before we get out of here for the year and see everyone in the new 2024? And
That Buzzball is less bad than the Eggos thing.
It's not good. Choco teas?
No.
What does that even mean?
It's vodka, orange wine, and cream.
I mean, they do blend well. Guys just
Okay.
don't like to try new things.
Mike, wrap this up, please. Take us out of here. What do you got to say?
You know, there haven't been a lot of years in life that I've hated as much as 2023. So, as much as I anticipate 2024 being somewhere between sucking and the literal apocalypse, I would like to say 2023 can go fuck itself. I'm glad that I'm still around. I'm glad that we got this thing moving this year. We've done some good stuff. I have had some good times, and I'm glad that I'm sitting here with both of you clowns.
I can smell that. I'm glad to be here with you guys. This is I was going to say this is exactly how I would love to be spending Christmas, but right now it's not. This is foul. But spending time with you guys is amazing. This is what drinking is supposed to be about: is sitting around shooting the shit, eating a big block of cheese, and drinking good beer.
Yeah, I agree. Well said. Looking forward to drinking this 8-year-old Creek as soon as we get off air. So, see you later, fuckers.
Happy holidays, happy Festivus, Merry Christmas, whatever the fuck you celebrate or don't. Enjoy it.
We love you guys.
We love you.